Have any of you read this gospel or listened to this gospel and pictured Jesus talking to you? You ever had that moment where Jesus asks you directly, do you love me? Do you love me? Do you love me? And I think for me, I've always related to St. Peter because, look, he's the first pope. He's the guy that was so in love with Jesus. He was the first pope. And yet when you see him, you see a man that doesn't just love God, but also experiences profoundly his own brokenness. I think we forget, he denied Jesus 3 times. Our first pope did that, by the way. Can you imagine if Pope Leo betrayed us? How would you all feel? Angry, mad, upset. All of us would. So I want you to see the context of this gospel is now Jesus trying to establish forgiveness and a reordering of the brokenness that happened with his first pope, St. Peter. St. Peter denies him 3 times, and what does Jesus ask him 3 times? Do you love me? Do you love me? Do you love me? And get this, does Jesus not know what Peter is thinking exactly? Of course he does. But why on earth would Jesus want to ask him? Because it's part of forgiveness, part of healing. And I've shared this at the Mass before. I want to break through it. So Jesus asked him, do you love me? Do you love me? Do you love me? I shared this at the Mass, but this is important. When Jesus uses the word love, for us in English, it's all the same, love. But when Jesus first tells Simon, do you love me? He uses the word agape. We all know that word, right? Do you agape love me? Do you love me like this? Peter doesn't say, I love you, Jesus, with agape love. He says, I love you with philia love, meaning friendship love. So Jesus says, do you love me as I love you? He says, I love you filial love. Meaning, Peter understood what Jesus was trying to say, but Peter understood that he doesn't love him like that. He betrayed him 3 times. He knows. And so Jesus says, do you love me? He says, yes, Lord, I filial love me. And Jesus asks him again, do you agape love me, Peter? And Peter says, I filial love you. And this is the beautiful thing about God. Our God meets Peter where he is, because then in the last sentence, he changes the word. He doesn't say, do you agape love me, Peter? He says, do you filial love me, Peter? Why would Jesus do that? Because Jesus understood that at that moment, Peter wasn't in a place to love him like this. But this is the powerful part of the gospel. Do you all know how St. Peter dies? Upside down, because he couldn't bear to follow in the path of his great master. So in this moment, in the gospel, Peter was not ready to love Jesus with agape love, but later on, does he love Jesus with agape love? Yes, but it took time. My dear friends, we are on the same journey. We get to a point in life where we experience such brokenness, and don't get me wrong, I know we all love God. We all do. You wouldn't be at Mass. But when you look in a mirror, when you experience your temptations and your sin, honestly, I say this example a lot. I drive, and when people drive slow, I get really mad. I don't say anything because they'll probably know that I'm a priest. But I'll think it. I'll be like, oh, Jesus, look how imperfect I am. Look at that. I'm so mad because I need to be somewhere. No, I don't. I'll be fine. But that's our humanness. Understand that Jesus, the goal of our life is to teach us how to love like he does. That's the goal of our life. And so I want us to look in the mirror. I want you to pay attention. I want you to say, Jesus, I want to agape love you, but right now, I probably don't love you like that. But one day, I ask you to lead me to that moment where I can be like St. Peter, and I would be willing to die for you. My dear friends, we are entering into the greatest feast of the church, one of the greatest. Push aside Christmas, push aside Easter, but everything from Christmas to Easter is led to this point of Pentecost, when the Holy Spirit would pour out God's love upon us. The only way that we can agape love as Jesus wants us to is the Spirit's power. No other way. If we ever think that we can love God with just our hearts and with no power from heaven, we are gravely mistaken. But with God's love and our yes, that's where saints are born. And so I invite you to prepare. How do you prepare? People ask me, how do you prepare? By surrendering to the Spirit, perhaps praying the novena, but just paying attention. What does it mean that this moment of Pentecost has been the moment that God has always planned from the beginning of time to pour the Holy Spirit upon the church? And that's happening this Sunday.